This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're going to be talking about the Bihn Le Petit Derriere, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So starting with the exterior here, in typical Bihn fashion, we have lots of options when it comes to the colorways and also the materials at work here. So we have this nice burnt orange colorway, which is a 525 Diener ballistic nylon. You can really see the texture there, and you can even kind of see it from afar. I know we're pretty zoomed in here, but it has a nice texture to it, and sometimes when you can see the texture on material, it doesn't look all that great. But I really think that it does add a little bit to the bag. It makes it look a little bit more rugged, and especially with this orange colorway, it looks quite nice. The interior is a 210 Diener ballistic nylon, and we'll get to that in a minute. I mentioned it now because both of these materials are Blue Sign approved, which means that they were sustainably sourced, and we're seeing lots of companies like Bihn, Osprey, and a few others as well using Blue Sign approved materials, which is a great shout because we see a lot of waste in products and stuff like that. So knowing that it comes from a sustainable source is a big plus for us. But as far as colorways go, there are a ton of different options. I think there's like 12 or something like that on the site. So I won't dive into them all now, but each of the colorways also have different materials. So there's a few different materials. So if you go on their website and you click on the different colorways, you can see all of the options that are available. But as I said, this colorway is very nice. I really do typically like this color, but the texture does just add a little bit of extra for me. But this is a 4.6 liter pack. You can see from the top down here that it's got a little bit of width to it as well. It's not super wide by any means, but for a hip pack, it does have a lot of beef to it. So while you're wearing it, it's a lot heavier than other hip packs you've probably worn in the past, but it's not necessarily uncomfortable. We do see on the strap here that it's not like a typical strap. Like normally you see, obviously we do have the part that adjusts here, but we have quite a bit, we'll call it like an arm here, that is nice and padded, and it's not rough or anything like that. It's not super soft either, but it is comfortable, but it is pretty wide here. So it almost feels like the pack is extended out onto your body. So it's comfortable, but it's almost like it's hugging you all the time. So depending on whether you're used to that or if you like bulky things, this is definitely a bulky hip pack. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. But the strap extends pretty far here, enough so far actually to where you can almost wear it as a shoulder bag if you wanted to, but it doesn't really work that well with this strap, so I wouldn't recommend that. We'll tighten this up here to see that it does have these attachment loops here on each side. So if you did want to attach a strap to carry it more as a shoulder bag or almost like a messenger because of its pretty big size, you could do that. When I did do that, it felt a little bit awkward because it is like very big and it is shaped like a hip pack and not so much like a messenger. So it was a little bit awkward, but maybe I just didn't have the right strap. And I also have it packed pretty full right now, so it was pretty heavy, so that could have gone into it too. But having the option to carry it like that is, it's dynamic, so you can carry it in multiple different ways, which isn't always the case for a hip pack. But talking about the buckles and the other hardware here, we have National Molding hardware, which I haven't seen before, but it feels very durable, and I actually thought that it was Duraflex to begin with, and then upon further inspection noticed that it wasn't. So it's done well. We do actually have a Duraflex buckle here, but this is the only Duraflex buckle I have noticed, but I don't really see any difference between this buckle and this buckle, apart from obviously size, and they do look a smidge different. But overall function, they both work very well. And these rings on the side here just say Bihn. If you get close there, you can see that probably. So I'm not sure the manufacturer on those, but those feel just as durable as both the back and the front buckle here. Moving to the back there again, I wanted to show you this This back panel here, so it's pretty well padded, so it is comfortable. It doesn't breathe, so on a warmer day, you're gonna, get a little bit sweaty there, especially because this is black. So if the sun can get in it all, it's gonna get warm, and then that's gonna be right on your body, and there's not any aeration or anything like that, so it doesn't breathe super well. But in the winter right now, I didn't notice it. It's just something that I can almost guarantee is going to happen if you're out in warmer weather. But as you can see here, it has space between the actual pack and the panel. So these can slide in here. And I always, as you can see, I have the straps fully tightened right now. If you have them loose, when you put these in here, they can, you have to worry about where that strap's going to go. So before I put it away, I always tighten it like that. Slide it under. Got the other one as well. And then it turns into more like if you were to use these attachment loops here on the side to attach a strap, that's how you would carry it, because these are out of the way now. Or if you wanted to use this little handle here, you can grab it like that, and it's really easy to carry like that. The handle is pretty small, as you can see there. It's just a typical carry handle, and it's not very wide. So if you really pack this out, I know it's only 4.6 liters, so you can't fit that much in there, but it's not the most comfortable way of carrying. What I actually did a few times was, instead of using that handle, I just had these all the way tightened up, and I just grabbed it by this and just carried it like that. It's by no means the best way to do it, but there's more to grab onto, and it was almost actually a little bit comfortable to grab it this way. If you grab it by just the buckle though, it's just gonna loosen, and that's obviously not ideal, because you could drop in if you've got something breakable in there. It could break. All of the zippers on here are YKK number 8 zippers. They come with just the standard YKK zipper pull there. They're a nice, almost like a contrast from the black here, because this is kind of almost like a silver. And very, very smooth, everything we expect from a YKK zipper. And Tom Bihn includes these zipper pulls if you want to add zipper pulls. I'm not a big fan of zipper pulls for the most part on something like this, a hip pack or a sling, so I did not add them. But if you do like them, or if you find yourself struggling to find the pull, you can add these for a little bit more something to grab onto. Going to this first pocket here, this is just a small kind of a front pocket. I have my wallet in there right now. It's not a huge pocket, but it's ample size for something like a wallet, or if you wanted to throw your keys in there, or just a small item you want quick access to. But this is very, very easy to get in and out of. No issues opening and closing that front pocket. This buckle pocket here is where I currently have my phone, and as you can see, it's really not a great fit. This is an iPhone 11 that has a case on it, and you can see it kind of bulges up here a little bit, and I just wish that pocket had a little bit more depth on either side, just so that my phone didn't really poke out so much as it does. It's not a huge deal, but you can kind of see it, and if it were to fall and hit at the exact right angle, it would just be hitting my phone, and I'm not a huge fan of that, but it does fit, and it works for all intents and purposes. And then we have a little D-ring here with a key ring on it. So typically I actually would have my phone on the inside of the pack. I'll show you that in just a moment. And then I would have my keys attached here. So that way, if I need my keys quickly, I don't have to go through a zipper, because if your hands are cold, or you have your hands in gloves and they're cold and you're outside and you want to get to your keys quickly, sometimes a zipper can be hard. So just a buckle, and then you can get to your keys nice and quickly. So we will move to the inside now. The one place I did have trouble with the zipper was right here. This could be a place where you might want a zipper pull. I didn't put it there because I thought it would just be a little bit too much on the front of the pack. But getting around this first curve here can be a little bit difficult with the zipper, because they're kind of hidden in there, and just there's something about this corner that is a little bit tricky. So there it wasn't too bad there when I just opened it, but a lot of times if it's more full and you come this way to close it, it can be kind of hard. Like you get stuck there, and then you kind of got to like readjust and pull down. And you want to close that all the way, because obviously we do have this little welt here to protect the zipper. But if you weren't to close it all the way and you were to get caught in the rain or something, water and moisture could get inside there. So the zipper pull might help there a little bit, but I think it's more the fact that there's extra fabric. So I don't know whether the pull would actually do all that much to help close that. But moving on to the inside here, what I used this bag for most was actually a camera bag. I typically like to bring a lot of gear, so a smaller hip pack or even a lot of slings don't really work for me. But this has enough room coming in at 4.6 liters that I was able to fit what I wanted to bring with me. So I just have a little Joby tripod. This isn't perfect for most things, but if you're just going on like a walk around the neighborhood, or you just got to your hotel Airbnb and you want to take a little adventure around where you're heading out to, having a little tripod is nice. And then I've got my Fuji X-T3 with a lens on it. Then I've also got a larger telephoto lens inside this little case. So I was able to fit a mirrorless camera body with a lens and then a larger telephoto lens in here with quite a bit of room to spare. Before I took it out, you could see that I had a lot of room on top, so if I wanted more accessories or if I wanted to throw some other stuff that isn't photography related in there, I would be able to do that. Set these over here. So you can see how amply sized that main compartment is. And then we have this little liner pocket here, which I have a LumeCube Panel Go in. Just a little light in case I needed extra light while taking photos. But that's typically where my phone would go. My phone slides in there nicely. There's a lot of room to spare, so if I didn't need my wallet here and I wanted it to be a little more secure, I would throw it in there as well. That's the really only organization inside of here though. So we have just that liner pocket, and then we do have these D-rings here, 2 D-rings on the back side, and then also we have 2 on the front. So if you have more Tom Bihn accessories and you want to attach them inside here, it's easy to do so, or even just looping on a carabiner or something like that to attach pretty much anything you want to attach with all 4 of them there. But I really normally am not a huge fan of just big empty spaces inside of hip packs, but I really like this because I can fit a lot of stuff inside it and larger stuff too. Normally, if there is too much organization inside there, I wouldn't be able to fit a mirrorless camera and a lens inside there with room to spare, and plus I have a light and a tripod in there. So I kind of like that there's not organization in here. Some people who don't have larger items to bring along might not like that because your stuff's all kind of jumbled together. So if you have a bunch of small things, this might not be a great option because everything's just going to kind of be rolling around in there, and you might lose things easily, and it's kind of hard to grab onto smaller stuff that may be hidden on the bottom. But overall, I do like the liner pocket as well. Put your phone or anything you just don't want to be in the main compartment there. Like this light, it has a little, it's a diffuser, but it acts as a case. So if you slide that in there, it has a little bit of extra protection, and it's also got the protection from the back panel here. Because there's, a fair amount of padding there that adds comfort while you're carrying it, but also adds a little bit of padding to this pocket, which is nice for if your phone or something like a small light like this is in there. Now that it's empty, I can show you the compression straps here. So when all the way undone, you've got a few inches of space there. It really does go pretty wide, which is why I was able to fit this camera inside of there without any issues. But if you don't have as much stuff in there, or you have stuff in there that is compressible, like you have a shirt or something like that, or if you have a compressible foldable water bottle that's empty, you can really cinch these down and make the pack a little bit thinner, which looks nicer and carries a little bit easier. It looks kind of crumpled on there, but when this is empty without cinching these, it looks a little kind of frumpy. And when you tie these down, there's like just less wasted material on the sides there, and the front looks a little bit nicer. But to be honest, I'd rather have a little bit frumpy material than this loose extra stuff here. Because when it's like that, there's just like a little bit and it kind of just stays with the strap here. But when you tighten it up, it doesn't look all that different. I mean, you lose some of that frumpiness, like I said, but then you've got this kind of dangling, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And there really isn't anywhere to keep this strap from dangling around. So typically I wouldn't really tighten it. I normally had quite a bit of gear in there anyways. so that isn't a huge deal. But for people who don't like the frumpiness of the fabric and don't mind these, it is a nice option to be able to do that. And it also, once you have stuff in there, I typically would tighten it to whatever was in there. So this was pretty wide when I put it, this camera was pretty wide when I put it in there. So I wasn't tightening it that much, but it had less room to float around once it was inside there, which is nice for safety and just for not stuff bouncing around. But as you could tell, the name of this bag is the Petit Derriere. And we have the Grand Derriere here, which is the larger version of this pack. So I'm going to slide these in to the back panel here just so we can get a better look at the size difference. The Grand Derriere here, this is 8 liters, and it really isn't that much larger. So a lot of that literage, obviously you have some extra space here and some extra space here, but a lot of that literage comes from the width. So you have a bit more space on the wide end here, a couple more inches, which really adds up to that 8 liters that you see in the difference here. But overall, I think they both look very, very nice. You know, we expect quality materials from Bihn, and we get them. The logo here looks very nice on the burnt orange model. I think it contrasts very nicely with the colors of the pack material. Same with the Grand here. They just do a really good job of choosing materials that go together well. Like the black and the orange looks really nice. And even the cloud on the interior here, I think looks nice with the orange. It's like light or dark, pick your poison, so to speak, of how you want it to contrast. But you really have options when it comes to the colorways, as I mentioned earlier. This color is also available on the Petit Derriere, and this is available on the Grand Derriere, at least when I last looked. But overall, this pack is very large. You can fit a lot of stuff in here, and it can be a little bit awkward to carry sometimes. So right now it's winter in Detroit, so it's a coat every time you're outside, or at least a big sweatshirt. So if I were to wear this right now in the winter, I would typically wear it over or under my coat. And if it's under my coat, I can't access it because it's under my coat and I have to like lift my coat up to get access to it, especially then you have to, once you've lifted your coat up, you have to deal with this tricky corner of the zipper, open it, and get what you need out of it. So then I tried putting it on top of my coat. And typically I'm not a big glove wearer unless it's really cold. And if this is on top of my coat, then I can't stick my hands in the pockets of my coat to keep my hands warm. So it's a little bit kind of an awkward decide what you want to do with it, because I typically wore this on the front. I did wear it on my back a few times when I knew I wouldn't need to get things out of it. And that kind of solves the issue because you could wear it under your coat and then you wouldn't have to worry about getting things out of it. But if you're constantly getting things in and out of it, like if you're going through a market or if you do have your camera in here and your camera's coming in and out like mine was, it can be a little tricky when you're wearing a coat or larger clothing. But overall, I was very happy with how much I was able to fit inside this pack and how it handled it. Like there's not that much internal organization. I do like the external organization apart from this this front pocket here being a little bit too small for my phone. But I was able to fit a lot in here, and I could have put more. Like I think I probably could have put a shirt in there or a water bottle in there or something too. Obviously I probably wouldn't put a water bottle with my camera in there, but it does fit a lot of gear. And it is, 4.6 liters, you can fit a ton of stuff in here. And overall, just a quality build from Bihn. It won't be for everyone because it is kind of a different carry, and depending on how you like to carry things, you may or may not like it. But there you have it, the Bihn Le Petit Derriere. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.